Orlov pressured at the point. Behind the net for Drury, out front for Blake, they score! I don't know what was better, the pass or the finish, but we're tied at 1. Out it comes for Aho. Aho can take advantage as the Flyer defenseman falls down. Aho in, backhand, save Kolasov, puck still loose, they score! Jack Roslovic, lucky number 7, puts Carolina up 4-3. It's his 7th of the season. Kaniemi, he's got real estate, lets the shot go! Save close-up, rebound, Necas, he scores! Marty Necas is beyond hot, and with 29.3 seconds, the second star of the week puts Carolina 5-4.
Wow. That's all I got to say. What a train wreck of a game. Hi, everyone. It is the Canes Corner podcast live here on YouTube. I am Adam Gold. You know who you are. We are inside Lenovo Center as we put the finishing touches on one of the strangest games you will ever see. Hurricanes win at 6-4, their 7th win in a row. They are 9-2 on the season, first place in the Metropolitan Division, tied on points with the Devils, but Carolina's got 4 games in hand. Carolina and New York, the Rangers, have each played 11 games. Rangers are 8-1. The Hurricanes are 9-2. Man, this is a game you win because you're just flat out good. You didn't win it because you played well. But it's one of those weird games because it certainly wasn't for a lack of effort. And for I would say, the 10th game in a row, the Canes were easily the better team. They were just sloppy. And because they were sloppy, Philadelphia nearly took advantage of it. So, I mean, to me, that's the difference in the game. Carolina, if they play a clean game, like as every single Philadelphia goal, you could say, why did they do that? Or why didn't they do this? The first goal, 5-on-3 goal, Jacob Slavin has the puck on his stick. It's his backhand, and he's under a little bit of duress, but hey, it's Jacob Slavin. We hold him to a different standard. Couldn't get the puck out. Ultimately, it's recycled around. Travis Konechny taps it in. I mean, nothing Pyotr Kochetkov could do with that. I could point to the fact that the first penalty on Andrei Svechnikov was a bad call. Travis Konechny just fell. Andre didn't trip him. He certainly didn't go down because of Andre's stick. And then Carolina doing a great job of killing off the initial penalty, but Jordan Staal's stick gets up, catches the helmet. I forget who it was that he hit in the helmet. And so Staal's got to go to the box. I mean, I have no problem with that call. It was an easy one. And Carolina's 5-on-3 down again. Fifth time this season, 4th time in the homestand. They've only played 3 games. Twice against Boston in the same 5.5-minute stretch. The 2 minutes of 5-on-3, Washington needed a minute 45 before Alex Ovechkin scored. And tonight, there's 4 different stretches of 5-on-3 hockey Carolina had to deal with. And there were 3 goals scored. Hurricanes have given up only 7 power play goals this year. And actually, that's kind of a lot for them. But 4 of them have been at 5-on-3. You're supposed to score a goal 5-on-3. So you got that. You've got the goal where Kochetkov, overskates everything. Like, I don't even blame him on that goal. But Carolina was just a mess in their own end. Carolina, Slavin couldn't get the puck out the next time, and it ends up being a goal. He tries to bank it off the wall, and it doesn't get out. So Philadelphia keeps it in, and Owen Tippett ends up with an elite shot. I think it was the Owen Tippett goal that made it 3-2. Yeah, that was in the second period. And then the third goal, again, Carolina mismanages the puck in the neutral zone. Philadelphia comes back in. Ends up one of the weirdest goals I've seen, where Morgan Frost, he scored it, but I think he scored it with his knee. missed his stick. And I think it was Dmitry Orlov who tried to look like he could get there and sweep it off the line, but he whiffed it. So it goes in. And then the last goal, Jalen Chatfield looked like he could have played the puck behind the net to Orlov or made a harder play. Travis Konechny comes from behind, steals the puck. It goes to trying to think who got it. I don't even know. Sean Couturier, maybe. And then he sort of shot it. He just kind of shoveled it towards the net. Konechny brushed it. It changed direction, but didn't change direction all that much. And it was moving at like -1 mile an hour. Somehow it goes through Kochetkov. All of a sudden it's 4-4. And now we've got, 13 minutes of hockey game left in a tie game. That was honestly, Philadelphia had 6 shots on goal combined in the last 2 periods. And they scored 3 goals. It was just that kind of a day. And who knows, maybe it's that kind of a day everywhere. Never mind. I'm not going to editorialize anything here. We're going to talk hockey. So anyway, we're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hannon and his crew do a great job, and you should check them out for all of your exterior home improvement needs. Took a long time to get to these sponsors. Sorry, Sammy. Shouts to you in Australia at both ends of the continent as well. I believe we're in Perth and in Adelaide. Shouts to you in Dublin. You're up early? Is it early or late in Dublin? Or are you just still buzzing after that Celtic win over Leipzig? Champions League football, baby. And shouts to you in California where the polls, I think the polls closed already. All right, let's get to a few things. I made a ton of notes for this, so we're going to try to brush through these, but we're going to start with the most important one, and that is, I don't think the overall game was great, but my gosh, Marty Necas, what are we doing? A phenomenal physical effort from Necas, especially late on in the third period. So it's hard to tell, because you change on the fly. You're not sure how long these guys have been on the ice. Sometimes it feels longer than it does, and vice versa. But Carolina took a penalty, and then Jordan Martinook, with his effort, erased it by drawing a penalty. So we go to 4-on-4 hockey with basically 6 minutes left. Aho and Necas come out, and they control the play, and they're looking dangerous. And then Aho goes off. He'd been on the ice for a long time, and Necas stayed up. And I thought, my gosh, it feels like he's been on the ice for a minute and a half. Close. Minute 24. Came on the ice, basically 6 minutes left in the game. A minute 24 of a shift. Pretty late in the third period. His next shift, he came on the ice with just under 2 minutes left. I think it was 1:58. Stayed on the ice until he scored the goal. So he was on the ice for basically 3 minutes out of the last 6. When he got back to the bench after scoring the goal, his 7th of the season, to make it 5-4, ultimately win the game for the Hurricanes. It was his 3rd game-winning goal of the season. You could tell he was doubled over in pain, and he actually alluded to it in the locker room after the game where he said when he looked up, it was before they scored the goal. He goes, we're going to go to overtime. I might need a rest. I firmly believe that Rod could not have gone to him in the beginning of the overtime. He would have had to have waited. Normally, the way they play overtime is Staal takes the draw with Slavin and Burns on the ice. By the way, Brent Burns was great again tonight. Very quietly, one of the best stories for Carolina this year has been the play of Brent Burns, more defensively than offensively. I thought he was excellent again tonight. But that's the way they started, Staal with Slavin and Burns. And then when, if Staal wins the draw, which these days ain't a guarantee, 7 of 20 in the faceoff circle tonight. I think when I go and look at the stats tomorrow, Jordan Staal might be basically at 500 for the season. It's, I think, a growing concern for the Hurricanes is that they are winning draws at a lower rate than really they have under Rod Brind'Amour. As a team, they're, I think, either right at or just under 50% tonight. The face-off circle went, they were 6-13 in the first period, 8 and 11 in the second period, and then they were 9-9. So they got better. They broke even in the third. It was not very good, and they lost a couple late that could have been painful. Anyway, I digress. And now I don't even remember what I was talking about. But so Necas was on the ice for. Oh, I was explaining overtime. I'll figure this whole thing out. I might be a little keyed up. Celsius is good, by the way. So the plan normally, as I said, those three guys are on the ice, and then if Jordan Staal wins the draw, Aho and Necas come on, Slavin and Staal go off. Or Burns and Staal. One of the two defensemen go off. And I don't believe they could have put Necas on the ice right away. If he didn't score the goal to make it 5-4 and they end up in overtime, I don't believe they can go to Necas right away. I think they got to play 2 minutes of 3-on-3 hockey before we can see number 88 again. I mean, he literally he had 4 shifts in the third period in excess of 1 minute. 4. Normally, you try to go shorter in the third period because, well, it's the third period of a hockey game. Anyway, all of that said, it's one of the most remarkable scoring binges I have ever seen. I am joking around, calling him Connor McNachis, but 7th straight game with a point. He's got 17 points in those 7 games, 6 goals and 11 assists. His 4th straight multi-point game, he's got 4 goals and 7 assists in that stretch, 11 points in 4 games. He's got 20 points and 11 on the season. I mean, that is insanity. He's never had a stretch like this in his career. And I know Aho had a really hot stretch last year for about 10 games. It might have produced more points than this, but I don't think so. So I didn't have time to look it up. I don't know if some of you want to look it up. That's fine. I got no problem. So yes, well, you are right. Necas is on fire. And I think I heard Mike tell Tripp or just say out loud to Seth Jarvis, don't get near Necas. You might burn yourself. He is playing that way. More direct. He had a great back check tonight that negated a dynamite scoring opportunity. I think it might have been Travis Konechny, who was alone, and Necas came back and intercepted a pass and then went the other way. Not even sure. It didn't lead to it might have even led to the Robinson goal. Not sure. But he is doing all of the things that Rod Brind'Amour has asked him to do and that Marty knows that he's supposed to do. He's not playing the perimeter game as much anymore. It's more direct. He's been a little bit more physical. He's been more defensively aware. I actually think that line tonight was mostly good, but it had its moments of where is everybody? They were just sort of aimlessly skating, and everybody's got to mark a man as the Hurricanes, for the most part, defend in a man-to-man way. But Necas is on one to the point where he has so much confidence that he can produce that he didn't want to leave the ice. It happened both times. It happened at 4-on-4, where you could tell he had an opportunity to get off the ice and he went, nope, not going. I still think I can make something happen. Jarvis came on in replace of Aho. And then at the end, he wouldn't leave the ice. I mean, he had help. I mean, I think his line mates jumped out there as well. But he did not want to leave. They certainly had the puck long enough. They could have made a complete line change, but nope. Necas wasn't going off the ice. And I do wonder if that puck doesn't go in, if that puck is loose. I mean, do they have enough stamina to keep the puck in the zone? Can they ultimately force a whistle, do something? Because if it went the other way, I'm just not sure what any of them would have had left. Again, a minute 27 on that shift, inside of 2 minutes left in the game. But when you're doing the things Necas is doing, I guess it works out. Remember a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, how many goals did Necas have in the latter stages of a game in overtime? Like, there were like 11 points you could have hung in Necas' locker with late goals that got Carolina into overtime or a goal late that won the game. I think he beat the Kings with like a second left in the game. I have to go back and look at it 2 years ago. Just a remarkable clutch year for Necas, not to mention the overtime heroics, right? And he's right now producing it at that rate. So Carolina's winning a bunch of games in spite of the fact that they're getting, very little offensive production from Sebastian Aho. Andrei Svechnikov, I think Andre had an assist tonight on the Roslovic goal, the 7th of the season. Aho had I guess it's a primary assist because it was his breakaway try that was denied. And then there was all sorts of chaos in front of the Philadelphia net. But Aho is under a point a game, has just 3 goals, played 11 games, hasn't scored a 5-on-5 goal yet, 2 3-on-3 goals and an empty netter. Jarvis hasn't really gotten going. We have no goals from Brent Burns, 0. We've played 11 games. So it's just kind of odd. It's just been kind of an odd start. But right now, Necas is dragging this team offensively. Is getting help. Roslovic has 7 goals. Career high of 22. And I'm not sure. I think 12 might be his second best. He could get that by Thanksgiving at this rate. And Roslovic has played well and he fits. Overall is the game. We're almost out of time here because we try to keep these to 30 minutes. Tonight is a game that it's hard to describe if you're like, oh, how was the game last night? Well, the Hurricanes were trash, but they were also good. How is that even possible? Had the puck basically all night, but they were a mess with it basically all night. And that's how Philadelphia at least got 3 of their goals. Like the 5-on-3 goal, as we went through, 5-on-3 goal is what it is. But the Hurricanes were just couldn't manage the puck, couldn't get it out of their end. They overskated it. Also, maybe I'm being overly sensitive to this. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. But I saw more guys fall down tonight. It's as though nobody had their skates sharpened. And I know that's not the case because the Hurricanes have as good an equipment staff as there is in the league. So I'm sure that the skates were fine. Guys were just falling down all night. All night. And the passing wasn't great. Decision-making wasn't spectacular. But they just kept getting the puck back. But, of course, they did give it away enough. So Rod Brindamore was clearly not happy with the, we'll just say the precision of the game. He was happy about the effort. The effort was great. And if you go and you look at the numbers in Natural Stat Trick, it's staggering. Hurricanes dominated the game. Dominated the game in terms of shot attempts, even scoring chances, grade A scoring chances, dominated. Philly's best period was by a mile the first. Philadelphia had 9 grade A scoring chances in the first period. I'm not sure they might have had 3 the rest of the game in all situations. I mean, they just didn't have the puck enough to create scoring chances, and yet they scored 3 goals after the first period. Weird. So a lot of that is on Carolina in many ways. By the way, I'll just say this real quick. If I'm Rod Brindamore, Spencer Martin starts Thursday against Pittsburgh. Not because Piotr is not good or isn't playing well. I mean, I thought the game against Washington was spectacular from him in a lot of ways. I think he might be tired, even though we're playing every other game. Because I don't know, I joked around. Maybe everybody was standing in line at a polling place today. I don't know, but there was not a lot of precision. Best line tonight belonged to Carolina's captain, Jordan Staal, with Jordan Martinook and Seth Jarvis. That line was suffocating to the Flyers. Best possession line of the night. They scored a goal. Jordan Martinook in front. He was there for a rebound of, I think, a Jacob Slavin shot. Martinook might have even gotten a deflection on the initial shot, and he just sweeps it in. I thought he played a dynamite game. He was all over it. He forced the penalty when the Flyers got another power play. He forced the penalty that negated it and put the two teams at 4-on-4. And to me, Martinook, he's probably the best player in the game. Overall, start to finish, probably the best player. But, man, when you're Necas and you score that goal, you get the first star of the game. You'd have to be booty for the rest of it, and he was not. He was excellent. At least offensively excellent. I think defensively, everybody had a little bit of an issue. That line was a little weird. But he was going to get the first star because of the goal. And he was good otherwise. But Martinook was fantastic tonight. I asked this of Trip Tracy during our hot stove in the pregame show. I'm not entirely sure that Eric Robinson hasn't made the Kotkaniemi Necas trio better. He's direct. He's big. He's fast. He plays a no-frills game. Scored the goal tonight that put Carolina ahead in the second period. That goal followed by the Martinook goal, 54 seconds later, gave Carolina a 3-1 lead that they would relinquish. But I do think that Robinson's insertion on that line, remember at the start of the season, it was Jack Roslovic playing on the left side, and it was Svechnikov, Aho, and Jarvis as the top line. And I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if Rod changes some things up. Maybe not against Pittsburgh, but I bet you it's coming because this has been the longest I've seen him leave lines completely intact. Trying to think when he changed it. I think it might have been Pittsburgh when he changed it. Oh no, I will effort that research. But Robinson, I think, has been sneaky amazing for Carolina. I mean, he gets the goal tonight, and the points are great. He's been about a point every other game. But I just think the way he plays helps that line. And in some ways, it's a little bit like the line Marty was playing on in the playoffs last year. If you recall, Jack Drury, Jordan Martinook on the left, and Necas on the right. And the way Martinook played helped simplify Necas, and Drury is, exactly what the coach wants. And I think that was the best stretch of hockey we saw from Necas. Whether the points followed or not really doesn't matter. And I think he was just 1 point short of a point per game. So how many games did the Hurricanes play in the playoffs? 11? 5 against the Islanders, 6 against the Rangers. I think Necas had either 9 or 10 points in the playoffs. This is after not a great year, and I thought the best he played was in the playoffs with Drury and Martinook. And in some ways, Robinson forces that line to play this way. But I think the change in Necas happened before that because I think he has figured out this is the way I can be the most successful. I'm pretty sure he's not going to basically go for 2 points a game. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I can't be 100% positive because stranger things have happened. But my gosh, 20 points in 11 games for that guy. I'm thrilled for him. I know it sounds like a broken record, but I promise you, he wears the way he plays. And I think last year bothered him. I never put any stock into the he doesn't want to be here stuff because I've talked to him enough to think that he wants to be here. He'd love to play center. Maybe one day he will. Right now he won't because of 20 points in 11 games. Rod ain't messing with that. And right now KK isn't giving Rod any reason to think that Necas could be better at center than Kotkaniemi is. So, but he just wants the responsibility. He wants to be relied upon. You can't rely upon Marty Necas any more than the Hurricanes are relying upon him tonight. I'll just close on two other things. One, I mentioned the faceoffs earlier. That must improve. Power play was 0 for 2 tonight. I didn't love the power play. They did get a bunch of shots, but I think they only had one really good scoring chance. And I think it's in a little bit of a rut where it's not moving as quickly as it needs to move. It needs to be a little snappier. I also think that Carolina has had trouble in the faceoff circle, and so they haven't had as much easy time to set up. Man, we went through a stretch last year where Aho was winning every faceoff to open up a power play, and Carolina started with the puck all the time in the offensive zone. We're not seeing that as often. By the way, Aho and Drury were both seven up and 7 down in the circle tonight. Staal was the big loser in the circle, 7 out of 20. I think I mentioned that earlier. Penalty kill at 5-on-4. They don't give up goals. The last 5-on-4 power play goal they gave up was in Edmonton, and it was a Connor McDavid special. Right? They gave up 2 opening night to Tampa Bay. And strangely enough, I actually thought the penalty kill was very good that night, but 2 faceoffs lost and 17 combined seconds for those 2 goals. Tampa's power play is that good if you give them zone time. If you give Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov any room at all, that's what happened, 2 goals. But since opening night, they've given up 1 5-on-4 power play goal. The other 4 that they've allowed have all been at 5-on-3. So I think I don't know that Rod's going to change personnel on the power play group. The second power play group certainly wasn't great either. And but I just think that they just got to move the puck a little bit quicker. And I guess that'll do it. It's been it was a wild game. You outshoot the Flyers. I think it was 35-16 for the game, and it's 6-4. Thanks to an empty net goal for Seth Jarvis. All right, we're going to do this all again on Thursday when the Canes take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't think Pittsburgh's all that great. I think they're better. They're more dangerous offensively than this team, but I think Philly plays a way that gives Carolina a few more fits than the way Pittsburgh does, but who knows? Carolina isn't going to get away with puck management like they did tonight. Gotta be better than that. All right, we're done. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, Beaton, Ontario. Thank you very much. Thank you. And thanks to all of you around the globe. Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Just look in the lower right-hand portion of your screen. And if you are in Adelaide, it really doesn't apply to you. Because while their staff is awesome, they do not service the greater Adelaide metropolitan area. Nor Perth. Either of them. All right, we'll see everybody Thursday night after the Canes and the Penguins. 7 in a row, top of the Metro. What more can you want? I could think of one more thing, but we're not talking about it tonight. We'll see everybody Thursday on the Canes Corner podcast. I'm Adam Gold. Thanks for spending some time. Rate, review, like, subscribe, tell your friends. If you give us a 5-star review, if I remember, I'll go read it, and I'll read it out loud on the next Canes Corner podcast. Until